The best of Money Matters. The Big Story.
Welcome to The Big Story. I'm Hong Bin Jung. In a shock announcement, U.S. President Donald Trump has declared that the United States will take over the Gaza Strip and own it. Now, Trump made the proposal to audible gasps during a joint press conference today with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, whom he was hosting at the White House for talks. The stunning proposal would dramatically reorient the Middle East and subject a population of more than 1 million to further displacement. Egypt and Jordan have already rejected Trump's plans to resettle Palestinians outside Gaza after the U.S. president last month said it was time to so-called clean out the enclave. Now, how will Trump's land grab proceed then? And what will critics have to say about Trump's proposed permanent resettlement? Will his proposal upend decades of U.S. policy and fuel outrage across the Arab world? We'll find out more. Joining us today is Cedomir Nestorovic, who is a professor of Geopolitics at the ESSEC Business School of Asia Pacific. Professor, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Professor, I just want to kickstart this interview by asking you, what was your initial reaction to Trump's latest announcement?
Well, it was a total surprise. And as usual, Trump doesn't announce his moves, so he likes to take people by surprise. So it was a total surprise, not only for me, but I think for many people in the world.
I see. What do you think was the reaction on the ground? How have, lawmakers around the world responded to Trump so far?
So for the moment, if I am looking at the reactions, they were mainly coming from the Arab countries. We completely reject the idea. But I didn't have the reactions coming from big countries, especially members of the Security Council in the United Nations, such as China, Russia, France, and UK. So maybe they are still stunned, so they don't know how to react, but I didn't see this reaction yet.
Right. Well, then what impact does Trump's proposals have on negotiations over the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire deal?
So this is primarily a pressure that he is putting on Hamas, because we didn't have this. It is coming completely out of the blue. So he will use this as a leverage against Hamas in order to free the hostages, but also to accept some kind of peace after the ceasefire is completed.
I see. Well, Trump gave a vague response when asked about the two-state solution. Then what will happen to the idea of this two-state solution then?
I think that he gave a vague response because probably he is not in favor of the two-state solution. So this is why he doesn't want to commit himself to this solution, even if the great majority of the countries in the world are backing this idea. But clearly he is not backing it. Otherwise, he would say bluntly, let's go and let's create a two-state solution. Let's create a Palestinian state. He didn't use this. And as a proof of that, Saudi Arabia immediately asked him, please acknowledge that there is a Palestinian state.
Right. Well, as we mentioned earlier, Trump has said that the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip and that Palestinians should permanently leave the enclave. Do you think Trump's, ideas will be put in motion? Will he be challenged back home, even from his allies, you think?
This is a great question mark, because he's used to announce, let's say, unrealistic demands, and after that he is pedaling back. We have seen this with the tariffs against Canada, etc. And he is frequently asking for the maximum, and after that he negotiates. So maybe this is also a starting idea for that, and we see what comes up. Everyone is caught off guard, so we don't know what he has in his mind, but very soon we will discover.
I see. Well, then how will the U.S. takeover Gaza work? I mean, what will be the legal and logistical framework for how the U.S. would assume control of the Strip? I mean, what about international law? Who will be paying for all of this?
There's very big questions and very relevant questions. Maybe we can remember that at some time they wanted to establish a hospital just outside of Gaza, and it didn't work.
Right.
So this is a big thing. If you want to take the Gaza, because it is a large part of the land. So we don't know exactly, would it be private initiative, would it be public initiative by the U.S.? It is definitely illegal. From the international point of view, But if we consider that Gaza is still part of the State of Israel, if the State of Israel agrees with that, it's another question.
I see, I see. Well, President Trump has also suggested that Gaza could become the Riviera of the Middle East, akin to a luxury development. Now, this echoes the previous sentiments of his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who said Gaza had very valuable waterfront property. Now, given the current political, economic, and humanitarian situation in Gaza, how realistic is Trump's goal of, redeveloping the area and creating thousands of jobs?
So this is a little bit unrealistic. And I know the Riviera because back in France, I'm living on Côte d'Azur, so I know exactly how it looks like. But it takes generations in order to build something like that. So now we can imagine with the appropriate amount of money, and he is a real estate developer. So maybe he has in his mind a possibility how to develop this. But I believe that it takes time, can take generations in order to build it, if at the end they are taking this idea as a realistic one.
I see. Well, 2 million Palestinians live in Gaza, yet Trump has contended that Palestinians should be moved out. Now, the idea of moving Palestinians to neighboring countries has drawn criticism, with some considering it a form of ethnic cleansing. How do you respond to these concerns?
So ethnic cleansing is a very serious concern. So I do believe that he is looking at the recent evolution. We used to have ethnic cleansing in the past, in former Yugoslavia, in Rwanda, etc. But in recent past, we had it in Azerbaijan, in Nagorno-Karabakh, when the Armenians have been, it was just in 2023, when all the Armenians practically from Nagorno-Karabakh have been expulsed from there. And we also had this situation now in Pakistan, when they are expulsing all the Afghans. Up to now, 800,000 of them have been asked to quit Pakistan. So probably he has this in mind by saying this is something realistic, even if obviously no country can back this kind of solution.
I see, I see. Well, what do you think the reactions from Arab and European powers will be if the U.S. does indeed proceed with this plan?
So that would be a delicate question for Arab and European powers. In the Arab League, we have 22 countries, and they don't have the same opinion about that. Some of these countries have recognized the State of Israel, some of them did not. They don't have absolutely the same approach concerning the Palestinian situation. So I don't see how the Arab world as one firm club can respond to this. European powers, we also have countries which are backing the United States. So it will be quite difficult to have a firm answer from the Arab and European powers to this plan.
I see, I see. Well, do you foresee any diplomatic backlash that could undermine U.S. influence in the region?
So definitely. In that case, I presume that in the near future, Russia and China could take this as an excuse in order to increase their influence in the Middle East by backing the Palestinian cause. It can also be backed by Turkey. Turkey is part of NATO. It is also an ally of the United States, but they don't have absolutely the same position about Israel and Gaza.
I see, I see. Well, President Trump's extraordinary announcement also upends decades of U.S. policy towards the Middle East. Does the proposal jibe with Trump's America First policy?
Yes, this is a little bit inconsistent because on one side he is pushing towards some isolationist policy, America First, etc. And at the same time he is pushing for that. So we also have to remember that Israel is the best friend for Trump, and the first foreign leader who visited Trump as a president was Netanyahu, who came to Washington just yesterday. So I think that it is America First policy with exception for Israel. So that's the thing that he is going to put in place.
I see. But how does Trump's proposal align or, conflict with this policy? And what are the implications for future U.S. peace efforts in the region?
Well, his policy doesn't need to be consistent. And this is what the problem that we have with this policy, because it can go to any direction. But again, if we consider that Israel is an exception to the rule, in that case we can have a consistency. If we believe that for the United States Israel is like any other country, in that case we cannot explain it.
I see. Well, you did mention there that this would, of course, be beneficial to U.S. and Israel relations. But what about, other foreign relations in the Middle East, particularly with Egypt, Jordan, and in the Arab world in the future? What are some of the potential implications of the relationship with those countries?
I think that he will pursue his bulldozer policy in order to force countries to accept the situation on the ground. He already imposed Jerusalem as a capital of Israel, which was causing an outcry coming from many countries, especially coming from the Middle East. He also pushed for the Abraham Accords just before October 7. So probably he will pursue like this, meaning putting pressure on individual Arab countries. He cannot put pressure on all Arab countries, but he doesn't need all of them. He needs only Egypt, Jordan, which are around Israel, and maybe Saudi Arabia, and he will stop there.
I see. Well, Professor, looking at a macro view here, some critics have said Trump's expansionist rhetoric echoes old-style imperialism. Do you think Trump's actions could really encourage Russia in its war in Ukraine and give China justification for invading self-ruled Taiwan?
Definitely, because if the United States consider that Israel is an exception to the rule, why not Russia can consider that Ukraine is an exception to the rule, and why not Taiwan is an exception for the rule for China? So this is creating a precedent because you're identifying something which is quite important for you, and you don't apply the same rules for that.
Right. Well, some experts have suggested Trump sometimes takes an extreme position internationally to set the parameters for, future negotiations. In his first term, if you look back, Trump at times issued what were seen as over-the-top foreign policy pronouncements, many of which he never really implemented. So if we take this analysis into consideration and the fact that Trump's ownership plans of the Gaza Strip doesn't work out, what will Trump likely propose in the future?
I agree with you. We have to go back to his book. Title of the book is The Art of the Deal, and he's a negotiator. So probably he is putting very high stakes on the table, and he is ready to accept to negotiate. And he accepted to negotiate it also during his first term. So I really expect here that he cannot put in motion everything that he is planning, and there would be negotiations.
I see. Well, thank you so much, Professor, for your time and your insights today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Cedomir Nestorovic, who is the professor of geopolitics at the ESSEC Business School of Asia Pacific. This has been The Big Story with me, Hongbin Jung.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.